Well, after the province introduced a new plan to keep people on bail from reoffending, the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs says it was left out of the consultation process. Manitoba's Attorney General and Justice Minister Matt Wiebe announced last week that the five-point plan includes $3 million for 12 police officers who will focus on tracking down people who repeatedly violate their bail conditions. Also, Crown attorneys will have more tools for considering the potential impact on victims and the community if someone accused of a crime is let out on bail while awaiting judgment. But AMC Grand Chief Cathy Merrick says the plan lacks insight from First Nations communities, and she joins us now. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So,
Thank you for having me.
thanks for joining us. So, just to start here, in your opinion, what's this plan missing?
Well, this plan is missing a whole lot of things in terms of participation from First Nation leadership. And as the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, we speak on behalf of the 62 First Nations in Manitoba. And it was pretty surprising that we were not involved in any of the development of a plan regarding the provincial bail system reform.
And in terms of, the things you'd like to see more of in this plan, to benefit First Nations community, or at least, to help include the needs of First Nations communities, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see the involvement of my political organization being involved in the process and being able to contribute as to what we hear and what we see in First Nation communities in terms of a plan for a provincial bail system reform. It affects our people. Our people are affected, and we need to ensure that we be able to speak on their behalf and that we be able to ensure that we're inclusive in any discussion.
And if the province included you in those discussions, what kind of things would you have suggested?
We would bring issues from that we hear from our leadership, from our chiefs, as to actually what happens in First Nation communities. There's a lot of information that is being brought forth, and we need to be able to relay that information to governments, both the provincial government and the federal government. And it's the lack thereof of services in First Nations as well. And just recently, there was a resolution that was passed by the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs in Assembly. And that resolution directs the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs to initiate a tripartite process with Canada and Manitoba to fully implement the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry. As we very well know, this document and all the hard work that has been put forward has kind of been left in abeyance. So we need to be able to ensure that we speak to the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry.
Mm. And what would that kind of that particularly Aboriginal justice kind of look like? I know kind of in the statement you released earlier, you spoke more about making reconciliation a focus. What would that look like in practice?
Well, we call upon all governments to immediately implement the recommendations in relation to the Canadian justice system in bridging and cultural divide, a report on Aboriginal peoples and criminal justice in Canada, Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples, and the report of the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry here in Manitoba. So the administration of justice and our people need to be focused on, and that we be able to ensure that we participate, and that we be able to ensure that we speak to the issues that affect First Nations, and a lot of these issues as well are directly impact this reform. So they need to be able to be inclusive in any discussion when we talk about bail system reform.
Because you said, the plan, particularly this bail reform plan, lacks a rehabilitative focus. What do you mean by that?
It affects our. We all very well know that the justice system does not work for our people. and that we know, and we have done research, and we have done a lot of good things where we are able to ensure that our people that come out of the system, the justice, the institutionalized processes that we have for our people, that we be able to ensure that they come back to the community in a good way. But those processes are missing, where people are being released from the institutions. There's no contact with First Nations as to how their people are being released from the institutions.
Now, my colleague Ian Fraze, he just actually put your concerns to the minister, to Matt Wiebe, just kind of mentioning what we have earlier. And his response, just to kind of sum it up, he says consultation is ongoing. They'll continue to look at ways to consult with First Nations communities. Now, you say that this lack of consultation, actually violates the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous people. Can you explain what this means, and what you'd actually like to see from the province going forward?
Okay, it's a violation of UNDRIP, the failure to properly consult AMC member First Nations and to actually involve AMC on these plans that are being produced by the province. And it's a violation of UNDRIP under 15.2, which states shall take effect measures in consultation and cooperation with the Indigenous peoples concerned. So this is where I come from as the Grand Chief, that we be able to be consulted, and that we be able to cooperate in these manners. And further to that, it also states that to consult and cooperate in good faith with the Indigenous peoples concerned through our own representative institutions. So free, prior, and informed consent before adopting and implementing legislative or administrative measures that may affect us.
So how far?
Yeah.
Okay. So how far should this duty to consult go? Do you think should it be, in every single decision, or what should the limitations be?
When it affects our people, it should be something that should be first and foremost. So when you're going to talk about my people, we should be at the table to talk about my people.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, a lot of the government decisions do touch on First Nations issues. So should that be everything, or where's the boundaries of this consultation process? Do you think
there are no boundaries? Like I said, if we're going to talk about First Nation people, we should be there to talk about First Nation people and the effects of any legislation, any policies that come to our people.
I know now this new government, they've been in power since October. How included, because this is the first time I know that you've kind of spoke publicly about, feeling left out of the decision-making process. How included have you felt in government decisions up to this point since the NDP took power in October?
Earlier, we were very happy with the new government, and we were just waiting for them to kind of come into grips of as to the representation here in the province. But we have met with the Premier, and we have met with ministers, and we have relayed the information on how to be inclusive in any decisions that are being made on behalf of our First Nation people. So we're there, but it has to be done more so, and that we have to ensure as well that when it comes to addressing First Nation people in the province of Manitoba, that we be there to be able to speak, and that we be able to be there to listen as well.
Chief Merrick, Grand Chief Merrick, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Cathy Merrick is Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs.